Whereas the Vikings developed an urban commercial lifestyle in Ireland, engaging in trade and manufacture, the Irish continued to be very predominantly a rural agricultural society. However, the Vikings provided markets for agricultural surplus, and probably a lot of cattle and leather and so on were probably sold into the Dublin market. During this period, we also noticed an increase in the number of sheep that were kept by the Irish, and this suggests that there was an increase in wool production. And that relates also to the fact that the Vikings provided a market for wool, which then was manufactured into textiles and would have been exported to Britain and elsewhere. Now, the Irish at the period, they lived in ring forts, which are enclosed settlements enclosed by a banking ditch with a palisade on top, and they also lived in crannogs. And a crannog is a similar palisaded dwelling, except placed on an artificial platform in a lake. The types of material that turns up on these sites, right across the country in fact, is remarkably similar to what you will find if you dig in a Viking town. Because through the interaction between the Vikings and the Irish, there's a common culture has emerged, a common material culture has emerged, which we refer to as Hiberno Norse. You get the same range of tools, the same types of decoration, the same types of brooches and personal ornaments and so on. And this is notwithstanding the fact that the Irish would have spoken a different language, they would have had a different legal system, a different social organisation and so on. But I think gradually the Vikings were drawn into Irish life. The Vikings were extremely well armed. When they arrived in Ireland, it must have been a great shock, because the Irish were confronted with vastly superior weapons. The Viking swords, like we see here, and the fighting axes, these were vastly superior to what the Irish had available to them. And very quickly, the Irish acquired these weapons. We know from the sword that was found here at a crannog at Ballinderry, this is an imported sword that's come from the continent through Viking commerce. One of the interesting objects we have here from Ballinderry is a gaming board on which a game called Knaffer Taffel was played. It's a game where you move pieces around on the board, not unlike chess or draughts, more like draughts perhaps. And this board is decorated with Viking style art. And this is maybe something that was picked up on a shopping expedition to Dublin. Or perhaps it's a diplomatic gift from Dublin to an important local dignitary. Or maybe it's come as a part of a dowry, because we know there's intermarriage as well between the Irish and the Vikings, and you have the Irish beginning to adopt Scandinavian names and vice versa. When Irish kings went to war, they captured prisoners of war. What did you do with them? You know, did you just kill them? Well, now, when the Vikings came along, they set up slave emporiums in Dublin and in Waterford and Limerick, where you could buy and sell slaves. So this was another source of wealth for Irish kings. At the end of a campaign, you know, all your prisoners were hauled off to Dublin and sold on the slave markets. We have records of Irish kings being captured and sold as slaves and so on. And we've even records of some of these guys escaping and coming home to tell the story. And they could have ended up anywhere from Scandinavia to North Africa.